it going?
It's going great. How about you?
Not bad at all. So, Dani Nolden, how's it going with Shadowside these days? You guys working hard?
Oh yeah, pretty much. We are actually getting ready to go on tour. We are leaving tomorrow, and we are nearly going to spend Christmas on the road. I'm coming back home pretty much the day before, and then we'll just have a short holiday season, just so we can prepare our family for the worst. And then next year we're just going to be on the road pretty much all the year long.
This tour is going how far?
We are going to be playing all over Brazil this year. We are going to be actually playing places that we haven't played before, and it's very much a frustration for me because we have played like 20 countries before, and there are so many places in my own country that I haven't been before. So we are very excited about it. And next year we are going to be touring with Halloween and Gamma Ray through. We are going to go on a 37 days long tour, about 2 months. All over Europe, and hopefully we'll be able to play some other territories as well. We really want to hit the United States. We want to be in Canada for the first time, and I think it's probably going to be the longest tour that we ever done. And I'm very excited about it because my life is basically on the road. This is what I love to do the most.
And how does it, feel? Living on the road, because I mean, you're always with suitcases and stuff like that, correct?
Well, for me, it's being at home. The boys get a bit annoyed by the size of my suitcase, but I'm very much used to it. And whenever we are on the road, I don't really miss home that much. Like usually people, they miss home, they miss, I don't know, their own bed or something like that. But it feels very natural for me being on the road. This is what I love the most. I love seeing new people and visiting new places. I like to wake up in a different country than I was the night before, and it doesn't feel that much like sacrifice to me. My family understands. Sometimes they come on the road as well, so maybe it's easier for me than for other people, but it really feels very natural for me.
Now, when you do go on the road, do you become a tourist as well, or strictly, let's play music?
Well, whenever I can, yeah, I do like to go sightseeing or going for some adventures every now and then. But everything, the pace is so up to speed, everything is so fast, and we are always so busy. Sometimes we leave the venue like right after the show, and we don't get to the next city until we are just about to start sound check. So sometimes we really don't have any time to go sightseeing or getting to visit some new places. And it's sometimes a bit frustrating because it's places that we always wanted to visit, always wanted to see as tourists, and we don't get to see more than the venue and sometimes the hotel room. But it's part of the job, We enjoy it when we can, but when we can't, it's just as fun anyway because we are playing. Sometimes it feels like one continuous show, like we haven't been doing anything other than playing.
And Inner Monster Out, and like, in your point of view, how was the recording? Very good recording and time-wise in the studio?
Yeah, definitely. We spent like 3 weeks in the studio, and everything was going so well that when we reached the final week, we actually started stalling because we would end up being on the last few days there with nothing to do, and we hate being sitting there in the studio with nothing to do because things were going super fast. We had the studio available for us 24/7, and we were literally living in the studio. So we had the chance to wake up at 4 in the morning, for example, have an idea, and just go to the studio and record it. So it was definitely the easiest recording process that I have ever experienced because it felt just like singing in my own room, in my own bedroom, in my own home, because I would just wake up and have my coffee and then just go straight to the studio and sing. And it felt very relaxed. It was almost like we were just having fun, and it didn't feel like we had to create something good. It didn't feel like we had to work hard or anything. We just had the whole studio available for ourselves. Nobody else was going to be there, and we could just get to work whenever we felt like. So we didn't really feel the pressure. You know, we knew before we started writing the album that it was going to have to be the album of our lives or something, or at least the best one in our career so far. But when we started actually working on it, it just felt super fun because we didn't try to please anybody else other than ourselves.
And Danny, let's say a promo video and stuff. How do you enjoy working in that world? You know, with the videos.
I like it very much because you get to speak up your mind. You know, you get to talk to people, and it's a different part of the world. It's the more social side of things. And it's actually one of the reasons why I got into music, because I wanted to talk to people. I really wanted to socialize and get to know people's ideas and opinions. And I wanted to explain the whole process, the whole idea behind the music, you know. So I really enjoyed that process. I really enjoyed talking about the album. And I think it allows us to complement what we aren't able to express with music.
Do you enjoy social media? Like Facebook and all that great stuff?
Oh yeah, that allows us to interact with fans. You know, I think back when we started, this was starting to happen. You know, that fan interaction online, and we were beginning to have the opportunity to reach out to our fans more easily, and fans were starting to get the idea of actually talking to the band, and I think it kind of cut that distance, that thing that felt like being a rock star and being unreachable and crap like that. You know, that's not something that I actually wanted. I always liked the idea of hearing from the fans and talking to the fans. So this was very welcome in Shadowside's career. When we started using stuff like Facebook and YouTube and stuff like that, we really started actually engaging in conversations with the fans. All of us, pretty much all four members, we are always there talking to people, and sometimes they get surprised because they don't expect it, but it's very much who we are. We always talk to people after the show, so we think online social media, it's just a continuation of that.
How is the heavy metal scene in Brazil, you know, currently in 2012? Is it the best it's ever been?
Yeah, definitely. It's very active, lots of new bands coming up. And there's lots of new talent and some old talent as well coming back. So I think it's very healthy nowadays because lots of bands are playing, and it's actually hard to find a free day to play in a city like São Paulo, for example, because every weekend you have like 4 or 5 bands from all over the world playing in the same town. And it's bad in one side because people have to choose what they want to see. They don't get to watch all the concerts, but it's interesting because they have lots of choices, and there's always a good metal show going on, you know. So I'm very happy with how things are turning to be here in Brazil. The audience is very supportive nowadays. They really come to the shows of the bands they love. So I'm very happy. I'm really pleased with how things are going on.
And if it's that good in metal scene, I'm sure in music in general, it's even bigger probably.
That's true. That's definitely true. Other styles, especially Brazilian pop music, it's just huge, you know. It's very much like party going on all year long. It's very interesting for a person that's coming to Brazil on tourism, because there's always something going on, you know. Every single day, from Sunday to Sunday, you can always find something to do, all kinds of music going on. And it's interesting because nowadays it's not really that hard for a metal fan or metal musician to find their niche, you know, their places that they can hang out or listen to good music. There's always a place for everybody.
You guys got a lot of plans, you would suspect, for 2013?
Definitely touring. We are going to be on the road a lot. I don't think I'm going to be home very much in 2013. And we will probably start the year with Halloween in Guimarães. And we are going to visit like 8 new countries that we haven't been before, and lots of others that we have been before. So it's going to be very, very cool to meet all the people that we've seen we've seen on the last European tour that we did in 2010. And after that, we really want to hit North America again. And after all that, after we have done a lot of touring, then we'll probably sit down and start writing the new album. But we still want to focus on tours and on the Innermost album now. Just we want to close that cycle before we start thinking of something new.
And Danny, one final thing: how's your voice keep up to date? When you do go on the road and perform each night or every second night, because it takes a toll or not?
Well, if you party every day, yeah, it definitely takes a toll. And the singer is always the one that has to be a little bit antisocial because we don't get to party as much, we don't get to drink as much, and people see us as the arrogant idiot that never hangs out with people. But we have to be like that, because if you don't sleep well, if you don't rest well, if you're not properly hydrated, then your voice just doesn't respond. I tried partying every day like the guys do on the last tour, and after a few shows, I was just a mess, and I caught a cold, and I had to keep doing every single show with a cold, and it just wasn't the same. You start doing it as an improvise, and it just doesn't work perfectly as you want it. People don't usually notice, but you're not at your best. So usually the singer has to rest well. I have to sleep a lot, and I can't talk too much. So when I'm on the road, I'm very isolated usually. At least when there's a day off, then I can party a little bit more. But on a daily basis, I really have to watch out for my general health. Not necessarily the voice, but I have to be way healthier than the other guys. So it's kind of like being an athlete, but it's worth it because there's nothing more fun for me than being on stage and singing. So it's worth it, but you really have to love it.
Well, Danny, you look the part and you sound great, and the band is doing great, and wish you guys luck and success. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me as well, and I really appreciate all the support and being there for us.
All right, excellent stuff. So you have a great weekend coming soon, and we'll talk again in the future.
Definitely. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.